that kind of stuff, even if it is so true to us, even if it is our true nature and our true desire, that's hedonistic, that's lazy. You think that you're working towards goals and it's good to achieve things, but aren't they what you truly, truly want? Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin, and this channel is all about becoming the coolest person that you know so that you can live an extraordinary life, and if you choose to do so, build an extraordinary business. Speaking of life and business, one of the most important things that I want to speak about this year on this channel is authenticity. I know you've probably heard this word so many times if you're an entrepreneur, if you're creative, or if you're just a human being trying to exist in this world. Authenticity has probably been something that has been shoveled down your throat for such a long time. My problem with this is I don't feel like we are discussing authenticity in the way that is actually helpful for people. And so I want this video today to be an exploration of authenticity. Now, this is both going to be helpful for those of you in the audience who are creatives or entrepreneurs, and those of you who are here for the personal development and becoming the coolest person you know content. Because either way, when you can tap into your most authentic self, when you actually understand what authenticity truly, truly, truly means, you are going to live the most delicious experience. You will be able to achieve all of your goals. One of my favorite quotes of all time is "Know thyself." So simple and yet so freaking powerful. Because I feel like a problem that we have in society is that we simply do not know ourselves. Why? Because we are inundated with information. We are inundated with influence. Every single time we open that cute little phone of ours, we are like pounded with information about how we should eat, how we should dress, how we should act, what is popular, how we should speak, how you should be to be a high-value woman, what morning routine you need to have to become a millionaire. We are just bombarded with information all day, every single day. And look, it is not a bad thing. I have created a lot of content contributing to that, talking about habits and how to become successful as a content creator. The problem with all of this information is that I think we've lost the ability to tailor it to our own personal, authentic experience. I think that information without personalization is a huge waste of time. And we've been living in an era of how-to content, online courses, and now we have AI that is, again, just constantly bombarding us with what we need to do or what other people are doing to have success. And yet the missing piece to so much of this, why so many people have all the information and none of the results, is because we aren't actually tailoring it to our most authentic self. We aren't bringing our most authentic self to our businesses, to our relationships, to our health journey, to our spiritual journey, to our emotional journey. We are just blindly trusting the information that we see on the internet and not tailoring it to our personal circumstances or our most authentic selves. And so I want this video to be an exploration, like I said, of authenticity. I want to share my story with authenticity because, trust me, I have been on both sides of the coin. I have lived an experience that is extremely authentic and achieved some incredible things. I have also been out of alignment or out of authenticity many times. And I want to share my journey so you can see the stark contrast between the two, and maybe you can kind of pinpoint where you're at on your own authentic journey at this particular point in time. To just further nail home this point, I do want to share an experience of what authenticity might look like, more on the content creator, business, entrepreneurship side of things. But I was watching a video the other day from James Smith. Now, I love his content. And in this video, he was basically just giving tips on like how to grow a YouTube channel. You know, the stuff that you hear all the time, which is titles, thumbnails, scripts, etc., etc. This is an example of information. Now, the problem with this is James has a huge platform, which is absolutely amazing. What people tend to do is they think, if I follow these steps exactly to a T, I am going to get the same result. We do this in all areas of life. A lot of people do this with health advice. You know, if I follow this perfect diet plan, if I follow this perfect workout plan, I'm gonna get the same result as the person sharing it. Except what all of this information fails to explain is that it's actually the authenticity to you, to your values, to your circumstances, to your personality that is the missing key to this actually providing success for you. So with the James example, he was giving incredible steps on how to grow a YouTube channel. The problem is 95% of the people who implement those steps perfectly will still fail to grow a YouTube channel. And while I'm sure definitely James does all of that stuff and it has contributed to his his success, that's not why I watch him. I watch him because he has this like sassy, no BS attitude. I don't know, he has this like dull, sultry voice. It is his vibe, his attitude, his authenticity that is the real reason why I stick around and enjoy his content. Yes, all the information is great, but it is the personalization, it is the authentic expression of that information. It is you bringing your authentic self to the table that is actually going to yield the results that you desire. When you can learn how to be in alignment with yourself, and we're going to talk about what that looks like in today's video, but when you can learn to be authentic to yourself, authentic to your own values, authentic to your own circumstances, that is when stuff just works. So let's talk a little bit about what it actually means to be authentic. But I just want to start with what I think people think it means to be authentic. You know, I think people think, specifically when it comes to being a content creator, when it comes to building a personal brand, when it comes to sharing your experience online, I think a lot of people think being authentic means that you have to like show the rough sides of your human experience. You know, you have to share every little nitty-gritty detail of your day-to-day. You have to show up online without any makeup on, or you have to tell people when you're having a bad day. That's not actually being authentic. Why people think that is because we came from, you know, the earlier stages of the internet where everything was very polished, you know, everything was super curated, everything was super perfect. Social media is a highlight reel is what a lot of people said. And, you know, as a lot of people had a problem with that because they thought that it started to create false stereotypes or false expectations and put pressure on people to live a perfect experience, the antidote to that was people who came along and they were more authentic. You know, they showed themselves without makeup. They showed themselves having bad days. They showed themselves going through fights with their partners or having challenges in business. And while yes, this is a part of authenticity, the problem with it is that a lot of people, they started to fake this kind of stuff. You know, they started to show up like bawling on the internet and crying. We just lost the essence of what authenticity actually means. Authenticity is nothing more than what is true to you. Authenticity and being in alignment is you simply being able to answer the question, what is true for me? Now, when you think about this, what is true for you? What are some of the aspects that we can find what is true for you through? Our values. Your values are what is true to you. Your desires. What do you actually like? Your genetic makeup, your biology. That is true for you. Your personal circumstances, your environment, the relationships that you have around you, your natural personality. When you are being 100% yourself, not acting as you think you should act in order to generate a specific result, i.e. be liked by a certain group of people or achieve a certain financial result online. All of that is what authenticity actually is. And now you can start to see that when we think about authenticity in that way, when we don't think about it as, oh, I need to show up and I need to cry on the internet, but rather, oh, authenticity is what is true for me, this particular point in my life, then we start to see how far we've actually drifted from authenticity. Again, why? As I mentioned in the beginning, because we are just blindly trusting what everybody else is saying we should do, how we should be, how we should show up in order to achieve a specific result. Being so far away from authenticity is contributed to chronic people pleasing. One expression of people pleasing is obviously, you know, you have trauma or you have some kind of self-doubt or self-worth issues. And so you overcompensate so that you can hopefully get that value and that worth from other people. Yes, that is one side of people pleasing. But the other side of people pleasing is you wearing a mask, an inauthentic mask, acting a certain way because you think that it is going to achieve a specific reputation or perspective from others. So showing up inauthentically is actually a form of people pleasing. Another form of inauthenticity, which I see, and honestly, this is like the dark side of personal development, spirituality, and manifestation content, is that a lot of people really took the act as if concept of manifestation, spirituality, law of assumption, whatever you want to call it, they took that and they ran with it. For example, when it comes to money, there's a lot of money manifestation content on the internet, and what a lot of people share is in order to manifest money, in order to manifest millions, you need to act like the millionaire version of yourself. Now, my problem with this is that how the fuck Do you know what the millionaire version of you is going to be like? What most people do is they think, oh, I need to change everything about the way that I show up in my life in order to act like a millionaire. And then what you do is you go mimic someone else. You start to show up and live your life like Grant Cardone or somebody else on the internet, pulling you further away from your most authentic self. Here's the truth. When you become a millionaire, you're probably going to be very much the same. Becoming a millionaire actually doesn't change you as much as you think it does. And so we think when it comes to acting as if that we need to change our entire personality in order to achieve the things that we desire. And that just pulls us further and further away. And you know what that leads to? For a lot of people, it actually leads to mental health issues. Because what happens is they achieve the result and then they feel so far away from their true essence that it doesn't actually feel good to be a millionaire. It doesn't actually feel good to be a social media sensation. It doesn't actually feel good to be in a relationship. Why? Because you have manifested or attracted it as a version of you that is hard to maintain because it's out of alignment. It's inauthentic. So like I said, I wanted to share a little bit of my own journey with authenticity. I know this is just like a really rambly and chatty video, but so many of you in this community say these are the types of videos that you prefer. And I really just want to talk a little bit candidly about my different experiences. And I just want to talk about some of the periods of time where I have been out of alignment or I have been acting inauthentically and what it led to. And then the contrast of the times where I have truly just honored who I actually am at my core. I have allowed myself to be the meest version of me and what that actually led to. So one of the times where I was really out of alignment, and I've got an entire video on this, my journey and my story, which I will leave linked below if you want to go further into this. But a time that's really poignant to me that I was out of alignment was towards the end of my previous relationship. You know, I was in a long-term relationship, I was engaged, and because I knew deep down inside of me, somewhere deep in my soul, that this relationship wasn't right for me, but I simply just didn't have the courage to act on that small, tiny little intuitive, authentic voice inside of me. Everything in my world started to crumble around me. I started to gain weight. I started to really feel depressed, bad anxiety. I wasn't able to sleep. I had bad skin. I just was bloated. I was puffy. And all of that was because I wasn't honoring my true self, my truest desires. And of course, you know, there was a lot of stress. There was a lot of inflammation in my body because I was holding something that was so inauthentic and it became heavier and heavier. The longer I procrastinated on living authentically, the longer I procrastinated on doing what was in alignment with my truest desire for how I wanted to live my life, the heavier it got and the harder it got to experience. And this happens to a lot of people, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a bad habit. You know, it could be something like smoking, alcohol, or drugs, or social media addiction, whatever. But the longer we procrastinate on actually living authentically, the heavier that things get. I did actually have the courage to leave that relationship. Honestly, it was about 2 years after I started to really get that small, authentic, intuitive call in my soul. And honestly, everything shifted when I started living in alignment, because remember, authenticity is simply what is true to you. And the two biggest factors of that being what is your values, are you living in alignment with your true values, and desires. Just a small side note here is the problem with our society is that we have been taught that living in alignment with your desires, actually pursuing what it is that you want in life is a bad thing. You know, we've been told that life should be hard, life should be a struggle. We feel like it's too hedonistic or too narcissistic to actually follow our desires. Yes, we're told to pursue goals, and quite often that is to make money, to buy a house, to get married, to achieve some sort of notoriety, whether that be in our community or online. We have been taught to pursue these things, but true happiness, whether that's going and living on a remote island, or whether that is only working 1 hour a day so you can spend the rest of the time doing puzzles, like that kind of stuff, you know, even if it is so true to us, even if it is our true nature and our true desire, that's hedonistic, that's lazy. You know, that's not what you should be doing. You should be working towards the status quo and all of the things that we've been told that we should want. Again, you think that you're working towards goals and it's good to achieve things, but are they what you truly, truly want? Or are they what you've been conditioned WOM. Anyway, back to what I was saying before. I left this relationship and there I was in alignment with my true desire that I wanted to be free. I wanted time to get to know myself, to become the coolest person that I know, to connect with hobbies, to be a child again. And I did all of that. I started motorbike riding, I started Muay Thai, I was dancing, I was doing all the things that just felt so true to me. And in the process of that, into getting into alignment with my core desires, with my most authentic self, with my true values, I lost weight. Literally, I lost like 15 kilos in a few months. My business skyrocketed, my social media skyrocketed, and I've had periods of growth in the past, but I just reminisce so fondly this particular point of my life because it just felt so freaking delicious. Everything that I attracted, everything that I manifested, it just felt so true to me. And then on the contrast to that again, I've had periods over the last couple of years where I've still been successful. I remember last year having a $70,000 week and it just didn't feel amazing because for some reason I was starting to fall out of love with my old business, which was business coaching. It wasn't authentic to me, kind of the same experience I had in that relationship. But I was again too scared to fully dive into the unknown of starting a new business or going in a new direction. And so even though I was achieving things, they just didn't feel as in alignment as the periods of time where I was fully honoring my own desires, my own values, my own characteristics, and who I truly desired to be. I will say one thing here. Every single time I have struggled with being in alignment or being authentic is when I've thought I've had to be more professional, more mature. Like the reality is I'm a little freaking tomboy. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I love the finer things in life. I absolutely love getting dressed up and going to fancy like restaurants and hotels and all of that. That is an element of who I am. But at my core, who my true personality is that mixed with a little bit of a tomboy, a little bit of like a hot mess, if you will. I'm silly. I like to swear. I like to be playful. And every single time I've gotten in trouble with my business, every single time business just hasn't been in alignment or been authentic to me is when I've thought I needed to be someone that I simply am not. And, that does stem from the whole concept of like needing to act as if, needing to act as a millionaire, as a serious studio owner, rather than just being who I truly am and trusting that I can achieve everything I desire to have. Millions of dollars, a successful creative agency, media features, a huge community online by being who I actually am rather than who I think I need to be. So let's talk about how do you actually become authentic? How do you actually become authentic? The first question I have for you is, who are you? Who are you really? Not who do you think you need to be, not what mask you think you need to wear, not the version of you that you think you need to act as if in order to achieve a specific result, but who are you really? When you can answer this question, you will unlock so much power. Start with, what are your values? What do you truly desire? What does success actually look like for you? A little exercise that you can do, this is something that I did recently, and oh my God, I was bawling my eyes out. Go into your phone, go into your old Facebook, go into your Instagram, and I want you to save a bunch of pictures, like actually spend the time, put a playlist on from the most nostalgic songs that you have that make you feel some kind of way about yourself. And actually go through pictures and save to a specific folder pictures of you that feel so authentically you, like the youest version of you that you could possibly be. When I did this exercise for myself, it was just such an emotional experience because I just saw the value in every single version that I have been. Rather than getting caught up with thinking that I need to be someone else in order to achieve things in life, I really deeply honored who I have been. All the previous versions, right to when I was born, all the previous versions of me, and I just started to fall in love with all of these versions of myself. And taking little characteristics, for sure, I've matured past a lot of things. I'm no longer as much of a wild party girl as I used to be. I'm sure it's in there somewhere. But, as you get older and as you mature and have different responsibilities, for sure you evolve. And I've had many, many stylistic expressions of myself. For the most part, I really connected with my true essence doing this exercise. And it allowed me to tap into, what are my values? What are my true values? What are my true desires? I think one of the biggest things that has also also contributed to our disconnection from authenticity is the concept of trends and niches and aesthetics. Trying to fit yourself into a perfect aesthetic, trying to fit yourself into a perfect niche has probably led to you dishonoring so many of the authentic parts of yourself. Two things can be true at once. Just because you are a Pilates princess doesn't mean you can't also be a, partying hot mess, bright summer kind of girl. Like, you can be two things at once. You are allowed to be multidimensional, and you're allowed to be contradictory. I think that we think that we need to choose an aesthetic because it's going to make us feel a certain way. It's going to make us feel healthy, rich, desirable, and we need to build our life around that aesthetic, but humans aren't like that, and specifically not in the era of energetics that we're in now. Authenticity and chaos will reign supreme. So honoring all the different parts of you and building a life around that that's just a little messy and chaotic is going to allow you to tap into that authenticity. I hope this video was helpful. I know that it was more of a rambly, less structured video, but hopefully you took something away. Hopefully you resonated with something that I said. You will become very successful, very happy. You will find incredible relationships. You will find massive, massive, massive abundance and success when you are connected to your most authentic self. It's like literally hitting the jackpot. That is it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely, if you have any questions on anything that I've spoken about, leave them in the comments below. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next video.